Hello everyone and welcome to this Ukraine update. In today's video, we will be discussing the recent developments on the front lines of Ukraine. So first, starting off with the Kherson region, Russia has shelled this area again with heavy shelling. I'm not going to show the video footage because of the violence in it. However, Russia is shelling over here and basically everywhere in the past couple of weeks of the Ukrainian side of the Dnieper River, the closest to the Russian side. So Ukraine is gathering forces. However, many people say Ukraine is going to launch some type of offensive in the Kherson region, while others say Ukraine's just gathering forces to make Russia keep forces here, so not to send any reserves to the south. And speaking of the south, now we will move to Robotyne, where we got Ukrainian attempted assault over here. Fighting was reported here. We got footage of Ukrainian soldiers in the Russian trench lines over here. And we got basically people are now saying Ukraine has recaptured these fortifications that Russia just had. I believe it was a couple days ago. Russia is pounding this area with artillery and drones because Ukraine has collected some forces here to do another push, their final push. Russia is trying to basically make their men and their manpower and their armor fighting vehicles and stuff like that less before they do the attack, and they use cluster munitions in Robotyne. However, according to the Russian MOD, which is not the most reliable source, Ukraine lost not even over 60 men today in the Robotyne area, so obviously it did not probably have the effect that they had desired. Now moving on to Perunutne, we see that the Russians actually have made a decent amount of gains here. Over here, the Russians have recaptured these fields that were previously in the gray zone, all held by the Ukrainians, and there is fighting over here. And some people say the Russians will push forward with this new added territory. My personal opinion is that the Russians just did that to kind of keep the Ukrainians from Perunutne. I personally do not think that Russia is going to the Russians are going to continue to push further like other people are saying. Now moving on to Regina, Ukrainian attacks across this area. There have been drone attacks here. Again, not going to show it because of loss of life, and YouTube will likely demonetize the channel. However, yeah, there were drone attacks from both sides. I believe there's two Russian geolocated drone attacks on the Ukrainian side and one Ukrainian geolocated drone attack on the Russian side. Ukrainian forces have managed to enter Novodonetsk and this village over here. I cannot pronounce that, but it's Nova something. This village over here, and according to the Russians, they actually have a foothold in both villages, settlements, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, the battle is currently going on. Again, no video or photo confirmation of it. Of course, the Russian MOD did not post it, did not say that. Just to clarify, it was Russian military bloggers, and the Ukrainians have also attacked here, but there have been no reports of any gains from the Ukrainian side. However, this map is not updated, and if it were to update, it would show that the Ukrainian forces were outside here of the settlement, and were like at the very beginning of the settlement here and at the very beginning of Novodonetsk. So moving on to the Donetsk front, Russians now, okay, so now there is news that Ukrainian soldiers all in Marinka. I said in a previous episode that I believe Ukrainians abandoned the town, but according to some, there is still fighting going on. So Ukraine does hold on to this edge of the town, settlement, village, whatever you want to call it. And however, the Russians have managed to capture this, and there's fighting reported. Now moving on to Andriivka, the Russians all trapped in Andriivka. This map does not show this, but the Ukrainians literally have the Russians tactically surrounded. And what I mean by that is the only way out of Andriivka is through the water area, which basically, if you try to do that, now there is some info that Russians do have tunnels out here, so they could pull something like that. But basically, the Ukrainians, because any water crossing for military is going to be harder than just being on land, so the Ukrainians will likely do what they did in Regina and just bomb the men, the retreating men, to oblivion, especially since if there's vehicles in Andrivka, depending on the pontoon bridges they put in there and the size of them, it's going to be pretty difficult to get those vehicles across. Again, this is not like a big river. Over here it kind of is, but where the Andrivka is not like a big river, it's just a small little waterway. But still, if and when the Ukrainians capture Andrivka, if they do, they will have a whole time crossing to continue to attack the Russians, because waterways are usually complicated. And Ukraine has there has been fighting reported here, which if we actually take a look at it, that means Russian soldiers have advanced in the Ukrainian zone where the Ukrainians claim to control, and that most likely is in the gray zone unless the Ukrainians repel the attack. Again, no video or footage or images in Andrivka. The Russians did retake this, and a Ukrainian attack to reclaim this today was basically a failure. Okay, now moving on to the Kupiansk front. In this village over here, the Russians, according to some, have literally captured this village 4 times, and today, because of Ukrainian counterattacks, were pushed out. However, this village is basically, I believe, going to fall to the Russians sometime soon, just because how many times the Russians have captured it. However, it's like Robotine. There's no places to hide. So it makes any army trying to stay here, it makes it difficult. That's why you'll have the Ukrainians capture it. Then you'll have the Russians capture it. Then you'll have the Ukrainians recapture it and stuff like that. Now, moving on to the Russian-Ukrainian border, we got 3 drone videos of Ukrainian drones destroying Russian equipment along the Russian-Ukrainian border. So obviously, Ukraine does notice the risks over here and is trying to stop it, or do their best to stop it. And last but not least, the Russians have claimed to hit another Challenger, and most likely what they're talking about is destroying another Challenger 2. However, there's no video or photo confirmation. However, if this is a legitimate claim, we'll probably be seeing that in the near future, the photo and video footage of the Challenger, the second Challenger 2, being destroyed in combat. So that's basically it with today's update. Make sure if you guys like this video to leave a like. If you guys want to see more videos like this, I would appreciate if you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. Again, YouTube, I do not condone any violence or war of any kind. I am simply reporting the facts. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.